Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be joining from. I am HR Funk, and welcome to HR's Firing Line, which is the name of my live stream show. This is the Halloween 2023 edition, and I have been looking forward to this all day. I've mentioned several times recently that Halloween is one of my favorite holidays of the year, largely because it's all about fun. When we get into some of the holidays coming up in the next month or so, there's a lot more pressure to do certain things and have family get togethers and all those sorts of things. But Halloween is just about fun, and I really enjoy it. And one of my favorite things about Halloween are the old horror movies that come around every year on this night that I love watching. In fact, I was just watching The Bride of Frankenstein uh, a few minutes ago before I came in to start the show. And even it's almost 90 years since that movie was originally released, and it's still fun to watch. So I hope you're all having a great Halloween. And I know some of you have already been lining up in the queue here. We've got Art Grote, Scott Person, Henry Schmidt, and Rich Powers. Rabbi is here. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. Roy Kiefer is here. I see you down here toward the bottom. I will try to keep an eye on the comments as I go and try not to talk so much that I miss the things you're saying. But if I miss something and you really want to try to get it to me as a question or a comment or whatever, feel free to put it in there a few times and I will try to watch for those comments. But I'll apologize now because I cannot answer every single comment that comes in during the course of the live stream because I just don't have the ability to talk and read and watch and respond and everything all at once. By the way, I am enjoying a little bit of Witcher's Brew this evening while I am conducting the live stream. And Mimi got these glasses a while back. I think they're kind of cool. And you'll see that from time to time as I take a swig. Russ Michael is here. Lucky One, Troy Mason, Douglas Hill. Thanks to all of you. Couple of quick announcements here at the beginning of the show. I want to get this out now, and I'll mention it a couple of times as we go. And it's just a reminder for November 11th, Veterans Day. I'm going to be at House of Pain Armament in Hayesville, Ohio. If you don't know where that is and you would like to attend, just go to www.hop Hop Munitions. Almost said Hop Armament. www.hopmunitions.com. You'll see the address in there. You can plug it into your mapping software and see just exactly where it's located and how to get there. And it's more or less in north central Ohio. So that gives you an idea to begin with about how far it would be for your drive. And I am working on a number of things that I'm trying to get into the channel for review. And in fact, I just got a notice just before starting the show that came in on the email that I think I'm going to be getting a couple of cool things very soon. So keep watching. And I've been getting some really great things here lately, and I hope to get even more. So I don't want to give too much away, but I think everyone's going to be interested in some of the things that I have coming up. And also, speaking of email, if you want to join the show, you can send me an email to hrfunk@zoominternet.net. And when I get that email, I'll send you a link to the show. You can click on that. It'll walk you through the process to come on. You can either join with your camera activated, so there will be a split screen and I'll be on one side and you'll be on the other, and we can have a conversation back and forth. Or you can keep your camera turned off and you can join by voice and we still have a conversation back and forth, but just no one will be able to see you. Now, if you have your microphone muted, then we're not going to be able to have a conversation at all. So if you want to join, feel free, send me an email to that email address and I'll get you a link to the show. And I got some more people chiming in here. Tony York is here, and I saw somebody comment on the 10 millimeter. I am going to have, in fact, I was working on a 10 millimeter video to get it today. I don't want to give too much away about it, but in the very near future, you're going to see a 10 millimeter grace the screen on one of my videos. So I hope you all enjoy that when it's coming up. By the way, I got my button on. This is my Halloween costume. I used to wear this button, by the way, when I was still working as a police officer. I put it on my uniform. I thought it was funny every year. And I broke it out for the evening tonight. Rabbi says we pass out the full-size Kit Kat bars and Red Bull. I'm sure all the parents love you. Tony York, without the youngins around, Halloween is nothing here. That's too bad. And one of the things I got to do, and a lot of you know, my daughter is away at college nowadays, so we don't do the whole trick or treating thing and everything like we used to with her. But my wife's, or I should say, our church does a trunk or treat. So last Sunday, I went to the church for trunk or treat. We had some kids come in all dressed up. We dressed up and got to pass out some candy. So that was a lot of fun. And for some reason, I'm losing my voice already in the show. So I'll be sipping on that quite a bit as we go. And if I start to slur my words, just ignore me like the embarrassing uncle you have at Thanksgiving time. And I'll sit in the corner and you guys can have a conversation among yourselves. And Jeff Tim says, he's talking to Rabbi, without veterinarians, the U.S. Army was starved to death. I have no idea what that conversation is, and I'm not entirely sure I want to. um, I've had a number of you ask me about the Smith & Wesson response, and I have gotten the messages on that coming from Smith & Wesson. I've seen one or two, not really reviews because they haven't been reviewing it, but I've seen one or two videos where they've been going over some of the features and one thing and another. I would like to get one of those things in. Unlike some of the other recent releases from Smith & Wesson, I don't have a negative vibe about the response right out of the box. Now, that might change. I have plenty of time to develop a negative vibe, but I kind of would like to get that one in and try it out and see what I think of it. I'm not opposed to a pistol caliber carbine per se, and that one kind of interests me. I never thought we would see the day when Smith & Wesson would produce a firearm that's going to function with Glock magazines. I was really surprised by that. So I'm working on trying to get one of those in for a review. If I get it, you're going to see it in a video, and hopefully I can answer all those questions that a lot of you have been asking me. Henry Schmidt is asking about the price of magazines, but I don't know what magazines specifically he's asking about. So Henry, you'll have to put some additional information in there because apparently I missed whatever the magazine was you're referencing. Jeff Tim, whatever happened to the plastic frame Ruger 1022? If you're referring to the one that I built a couple of years ago, it's one of the ones that you see hanging behind me in the videos. And I just had that out in a video not all that long ago where I was testing out a new scope. So you still see that from time to time. Wait, what says, hello, what are you drinking? This is Witch's Brew, appropriate for Halloween. So again, you'll see me taking a sip of that from time to time. Let's hear your craziest SWAT story. I'll tell you my funniest SWAT story. We had this guy who was a pretty well-known drug dealer. He fancied himself to be a tough guy. All the hype that goes along with that, guns and one thing and another. So we had a search warrant to serve one night, and I believe this is when I was still the SWAT team commander. I think I put this one together. So we developed the plan. We had the high risk search warrant. We had nighttime authorization and all that. And we hit the apartment that he lived in at something like 2:00 in the morning on purpose to try to make sure everyone was sound asleep and there would not be so much chance of them getting to firearms and arming themselves and all that. So boom, our RAM guy hits the door flies open. We go in, police, SWAT team, don't move, this and that. And it was predetermined. We had a layout of the apartment. So we already had determined which officers were going to which portions of the apartment to secure it. And myself and another officer were going to the back bedroom. Well, it turns out that's where our bad guy was, in bed asleep. Now, again, tough guy, gangster, all this kind of stuff. We go in there, full SWAT gear, yelling, police, don't move, this and that. This guy, he looks up, sees us, screams like a 9-year-old girl, throws the sheet up in the air and holds it over his head to hide from us. Suffice to say, that didn't fool us. We realized he was there. We latched onto him, dragged him out from under there and got him handcuffed and all that. But I wish at the time we would have had body cameras because I would love to have that video of this guy screaming and hiding under his covers to be able to show for all of you because it was extremely funny. At the time we couldn't stop to enjoy it, but later on we had quite a good laugh about all that. And let's see. I'm sure I missed some comments in through here. YouTube keeps deleting my comments. YouTube has been on a tear lately. I think they are deleting comments that are coming in on the videos. They are doing all kinds of silly things. It's taking a long, long time to get my videos approved when I submit them and upload them and go through the process to get them monetized. In fact, there's not going to be a video tomorrow. One of the reasons that I wanted to do the live stream tonight is because it's taking an extended period of time to get the video that I was going to release tomorrow morning to get that approved. So that's going to end up being Saturday's video. And again, I'm doing the live stream tonight, hopefully to make up for that. And also because I want to do a live stream because it's Halloween. Let's see. Joint lock. Anyone else strictly shooting 22 at the range due to the cost? Last looked at 38 special target rounds. They were 65 cents a round. Ouch. My poor security said, yeah. And I got a feeling that's going to get worse before it gets better because there's a lot of panic buying going on right now, which never does a good thing for ammunition prices. It bugs me whenever that comes around, and hopefully it will be over soon and prices will at least get back as close to normal as they get with our current presidential administration. Lucky One, your ideas about security, Homeland Security is advising of terrorist attacks on small communities. I've been worried about this ever since the situation in Israel broke loose, whatever it's been now, about 3 weeks ago, that there was going to be sympathetic individuals here in this country that are going to lash out and have lone wolf attacks here and there. So far, as much as I know, that hasn't happened, although there have been a couple of strange incidents that have happened over the last week or so, and information coming out has been very, very tight, and it's made me wonder some. I don't think the situation in Maine was one of those. I think that was just somebody that was mentally deranged in that particular one. But I would say to everyone, keep your eyes open, be careful, report anything you see that's suspicious, and take the steps you need to keep yourself safe. That's my best advice, I think. Thomas White is here, says happy Halloween, and he did get a reminder notification. By the way, Thomas is in Salem, Massachusetts. How about that? Joining us on Halloween night from Salem. By the way, Tom, if you want to throw out any stories, if you see witches running by or anything like that, please let us know. Paul, aka Head Hog, is here. Glad you joined us, Paul. And Russ Michael heard 9mm and 45 Colt are the next to disappear from the shelves. Who knows? Rabbi thinks he might mean 45 ACP. Again, with panic buying and all that, who knows what's going to happen? Mr. Browning's 1911 to the rescue. And we have not yet gotten into the topic that I mentioned back at the beginning of the video, and that's, what do you guys like for movies on Halloween? I mentioned that I was watching Bride of Frankenstein before I came in here tonight. Great movie all these years later, but I'm really a big fan of those older, probably pre-1950 black and white horror movies from back in the day. When I was a kid, there were a couple of TV shows on that would play those old horror movies from back in the day. And it was a regional thing around here with a couple of our local TV stations, but I also think that was done other places. And I just love those old black and white horror movies. The original Wolfman, fantastic movie. The original Dracula is one that I like. Although my favorite version of Dracula is Francis Ford Coppola's version, Bram Stoker's Dracula. That one really is fairly close to the novel, and I'm a big fan of the novel, by the way, too. There are some liberties taken, but I really enjoyed that particular screen adaptation. Paul Woodall, top of the evening to you. All's at full. Have you ever tried the High Point 995? The only time I've shot high points, I had one person bring a high point to one of my concealed handgun classes once upon a time, and I believe I shot that one because the guy was having so much trouble trying to shoot it and hit the target and all that. And I shot it just to see if it was an accuracy problem with the pistol, and it actually shot pretty straight, but the trigger on it was so heavy it was causing that particular shooter a problem. So I switched it out and gave him something else to use during the class. Other than that, the only time I've fired a high point is when I've test fired ones that were used in a crime, and I had to fire them so that we could submit to our prosecutor that it was an actual working firearm for the firearm spec for whatever particular crime that individual committed. Rabbi likes the newer horror movies like The Nun. I've never seen that one. At least I don't think I've seen that one. And Rabbi just made a $5 donation. Thank you very much, Rabbi. I appreciate that. And everyone can see that when the colored posts come up like that, that's where somebody has made a donation or joined the channel or what have you. So thank you very much, Rabbi. I greatly appreciate it. And by the way, anything that anyone decides to donate just goes right into the channel and right into producing videos. Chris 1911, The Wolfman, 1941, Lon Chaney, one of my all-time favorites. Love that movie. And one of the things about The Wolfman that always strikes me is it's a tragedy. Larry Talbot, who Lon Chaney Jr. portrays, is a kind of a happy-go-lucky guy. He goes back home to see his father and all that. He meets a woman in town that he's enamored with, and he kind of wants to wow her and one thing and another. And really, through no fault of his own, he ends up being attacked by a werewolf and then becomes a werewolf. And of course, once he realizes what's going on, he doesn't want to hurt anybody, and he ends up wanting to do himself in and all that kind of thing. So it's a very tragic story, and one that I think Lon Chaney Jr. portrayed very, very well. And of course, there are numerous sequels to that movie that came out later on. And he sort of continued that theme for a long, long time. So great movie, great portrayal, and one of my all-time favorites. And I missed something here. Apparently, Tony York. Oh, actually, Majesty said the the old movie, The Thing from Outer Space. I think it was actually The Thing from Another World with James Arness. Another great movie, although the 1980 version that was just called The Thing, the John Carpenter movie, is another one of my all-time favorites. Fabulous, fabulous horror movie. In fact, I just watched that the other day. And those old John Carpenter movies, The Thing, The Fog, what else did he? Halloween. Those are just some fantastic horror movies. And the things that he was able to do back then by creating the mood and the music and all of that, back in the days before there were all the special effects that could be used that we have nowadays, those movies just still stand the test of time. And it doesn't hurt anything that he had people like, Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis. I told my wife last night, I'm pretty sure that I was in love with Adrienne Barbeau and Jamie Lee Curtis, both at the same time, back somewhere around the time that I was like 13 or 14. And still, I still enjoy watching those movies, and to a degree, watching them all these years later. Henry Schmidt, Attack of the Crab People. I don't think I ever saw that one. Nosferatu, 1922, classic movie. And one of the things about Nosferatu is I noticed that a lot of the vampire movies that came after that include elements from that movie in the newer movies. In fact, in The Francis Ford Coppola one that I mentioned a little while ago, Bram Stoker's Dracula. There's the scene where Dracula is laying on his back and then instantly, stands upright out of the coffin, which came right from that 1922 movie. And there are other ones that I've seen, like Dracula is his shadow is moving around and things like that that harken back to that movie. So great classic horror movie. Wait, what is asking me if I'm a reader? I do read. I don't read a lot of contemporary stuff, a little bit, but not much. Um, I'm trying to think if I've read anything by Tom Clancy. I haven't read anything by him recently. Um, I think I read Hunt for Red October back when I was in the Marine Corps, back in the late 80s. I probably have not read anything since then by him. James Arness, Matt Dillon. Yes, he played the Thing from Another World. Tony York likes the original Dracula from the 1930s. I watched that again not too long ago. This time of year, yeah, again, I kind of OD on those classic horror films. All's at Full, Scariest is Fatal Attraction. You know what? I don't like that movie all that well. I don't know. I guess I'm just not a Glenn Close fan, and I remember watching that back in the day and just, I don't know, not being that crazy about it. Jeff Tim, favorite Halloween show is NCIS season 4. I think I remember that one. That's the one that opens up where they're carving the pumpkin and all that. They would show it just about every year when Halloween time came around. Michael J. Fox did it better. Joint Lock, any opinions on the Springfield Ronin in 10 millimeter? Beautiful looking, but mixed reviews. I'll tell you what, I got the 9 millimeter Ronin a while back. I thought I was really going to like it. It's in the safe back behind me there, and it's never quite lived up to my expectations. For the price of that particular pistol being around $800, I was expecting a lot more than I got from it, and I don't know, and I can't speak to the 10 millimeter specifically because I have no experience with it, but just the Ronin in general, I'm kind of lukewarm to it, even though I thought I was really going to like it. Rabbi, the thing is fantastic and holds up. I agree. Jeff Tim, it's on the Sundance TV channel. I don't think we get that. Chris, 1911, The Howling. I haven't seen The Howling in forever. That's another pretty good movie. American Werewolf in London, another great horror movie with a lot of good practical effects. That's a good one to watch still to this day. Student Bodies, 1984. A lot of people talking about Adrienne Barbeau. Yeah, huh. Wow. She was something back in the day. Chris Giampo, The Mummy. I'm assuming you mean the classic one, although the newer one from back around 1999, 2000, another great movie. One of my all-time favorites with Brendan Fraser. 1981's The Evil Dead. I haven't seen that for quite a while. Those are fun to watch. I always enjoyed Bruce Campbell, very entertaining actor, and those are fun movies. Scott Person, I was watching a zombie movie, then realized it was the Biden press. Wait, what? Likes Army of Darkness? Yeah, another one with Bruce Campbell. Tony York, my favorite Halloween show is The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Yeah, I have not seen that one yet this year. In fact, I'm gonna have to see if I can dial that up on YouTube this evening. It's only what 20 minutes long or something like that. Fun movie. 18 wins again. Every normal young man had a crush on Adrian Barbeau. That's probably true. All's at full, Grisan Mini High Power. I'm working on one of those. In fact, I just sent a message, I think yesterday, to somebody about that. So I'm trying to get one in. If I can, you guys are going to see it in a video. Russ Michael, Last House on the Left. I don't know if I've seen that. When I first saw that, the first thing that came to my mind was The House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price, another great classic horror movie. And Vincent Price, there just aren't actors like that anymore. Yeah, Vincent Price, the thing I always liked about him is he reminded you, with his mannerisms and the way he spoke and everything else, of kind of like a nice old guy who lived down the street. But then in the movies, you would find out that he had, bodies in his basement or a torture chamber or whatever. Just really, really enjoyed him. And we don't see those kind of actors anymore either. The Exorcist, unreal scary movie at the time. Yeah, and I've not seen The Exorcist for quite a while either. That's one that when you watch The Exorcist, once you've seen it one time and you know all the things that are going to happen, it's not as fun for me to watch that one over and over again. I don't know, like it is something like, say, The Wolfman or whatever that I've seen a million times. Oh, and let's not forget Young Frankenstein, another fabulous Halloween movie, and I have not seen that yet this year. In fact, I was trying to find that on Apple TV on the movie section a week or so ago, and apparently they don't have it. But fabulous movie, and another one with both Madeline Kahn and oh, played Inga. What's her name? I can picture it. One of you guys tell me what's the actress's name that played Inga? Anyway, both of them, you know, very, very attractive women, and fun to watch those movies even still today. Terry Garr, that's her name. I could not think of that. The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. Swamp Thing. That's another movie. I haven't seen Swamp Thing probably since the 1980s sometime. That's been forever since I saw that. Max Van Sydow was a great spooky. I'm not sure I know who that is. I might recognize, a character of his in a movie, but I don't recognize him by name. The Raven with Boris Karloff, Vincent Price, and a young Jack Nicholas. Nicholas or Nicholson? Anyway, I'll bet that would be fun. The Crow? Okay, I'll go with that. Frederick Frankenstein. Blazing Saddles, another funny movie. It's hard to go wrong with Mel Brooks. You're a vampire and a zombie killer. What guns do you choose? Wow. If you're a vampire killer, I would say probably a crossbow. And zombie, pretty much anything that spits out a high volume of bullets. Good case could be made for a 22 semi-auto with for a zombie. Elvira, yes. There were a few that Bela Lugosi did that were wait a second. There were a few that Bela Lugosi did that were kind of good. The Black Cat, I can't recall the others. Dracula comes to mind. He was also in The Wolfman. What else was Bela Lugosi in? He was in a bunch of stuff back in the day. Lake City released a statement saying they're still selling to the commercial market. That's interesting. It's been the announcement, quote unquote, was kind of vague as far as exactly what was supposed to be happening with them. Considering we might be looking at military action in the Middle East. The idea that they're going to focus on manufacturing ammunition for the military is not real surprising. But I don't know. I was kind of unclear as to exactly what was supposed to be happening with them. Mask of the Red Death, another good one. Also, Fall of the House of Usher with Vincent Price, another great movie. Joint Lock, Seahawk with Errol Flynn. I don't know if I've seen that. Yeah, I've definitely seen Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. I don't know that I've seen that one. Blade, I don't think I've seen that one either. Frau Blucher. I need to have the horse sound effect. Oh, Saidal was the priest in The Exorcist. Okay. Somebody's doing the red dirt is doing the horse sound effect. Um, Trexter Lake City is the government arsenal that produces a great deal of the ammunition that's used by our military. They were selling commercially to civilians also, or for commercial sales. And there was an announcement that came a couple of weeks ago, allegedly from the president, saying they were to discontinue commercial sales and focus on production of ammunition for the military. But again, it was all sort of vague, and I think there's a lot of rumor and speculation. But that's what's driving this recent panic buying, or at least part of what's driving the recent panic buying of ammunition that we were discussing. Plan 9 from Outer Space, horrific acting, writing, and direction. Chris Giampo, Jack Nicholson, he's just your average guy. Horny little devil, witches. Wait a second. Witches of Eastwick with Cher. I've seen that, but it's been forever ago. Argument to be made for Deliverance. Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Don't know that I've seen that either. Hot 8 made it. Glad you got here. The Pit and the Pendulum. Steve Detweiler says, saw you were still on, just saying hi while getting evening stuff done. Thanks for stopping by, Steve. Henry Schmidt, let's talk Larry Vickers. I can't talk intelligently about Larry Vickers because I just don't know enough about his situation. I know that somehow or other he ran afoul of the law. He got charged with something. I don't know what exactly. I understand that he entered some sort of a plea to it, but as far as specifics, I just don't know. Day the Earth Stood Still. Great, great sci-fi flick. The original one. I mean, I don't think I ever saw the one that came out, whatever it's been now, 10 or 12 years ago. Michael Mitchell, I was handing out candy while dressed as a USGI from World War II. Cool. It's always fun to come up with a costume while you're passing out candy and just sort of get into the spirit of things and enjoy it as much as you can, even as an adult. By the way, you guys were asking me what I was drinking. It is Canada Dry Ginger Ale with maybe just a little bit of something else in there. Wait a second. You lost me there, Trexter, saying, oh, is he flashing his precious around again? Tarantino movies from the 70s and 80s. I have never been a big fan of Quentin Tarantino movies, so I'll just have to take your word for it on that. Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves. I don't think I ever saw that one. I've seen the original one, multiple times. I don't think I ever saw the new version. User 579, what's your CCW? Depends a little bit on where I'm going, how I'm dressed, what my expected threat level might be. Generally speaking, I'm carrying my Masada 9S, although that varies again, just depending upon a lot of variables. Tony York, because I was into Single Action Shooting Society, I have a very costly cowboy costume. Well, that should serve you well on Halloween. Another vote for the day the Earth stood still. Sidearm of choice for an alien invasion. A Star Trek phaser. How's that? And hold on just a second because I have somebody that might want to join as a guest. And apparently not. I thought maybe we had somebody. Again, I will throw that out. If you would like to join as a guest on the program, just send me an email to hrfunk@zoominternet.net. I'll send you a link to the show and you can join and we can have a conversation back and forth. But everybody listening is going to be able to hear what you're saying and probably weigh in with some comments. Just keep that in mind. User 579, is Masada 9S a single stack or a micro comp? It's one of the new what they're calling stack and a half. It's a little bit bigger than the compacts. Uh, kind of on the same size scale. It's like a Smith and Wesson Shield Plus or something like that. Plasma rifle in the 40-watt range. Anyone else is gonna kit it up and call it a costume? Yeah, why not? Tremors. Man, it's been a long time since I saw that. It's probably back in the early '90s somewhere that I saw Tremors. Joint lock. Anyone know why the Enterprise almost always went to phasers, but rarely the photon torpedoes? Um, Here's a guess. I would say they had a limited number of photon torpedoes, so they were keeping those in reserves, but the phasers were generated by whatever, the dilithium crystals and the warp core and all that kind of thing. So it was uh, not as limited to be able to use phasers as it was to use photon torpedoes. How's that for a Trekkie answer? Chris Giampo, what is that new small Glock 9 millimeter? Is it a 41? I think it is. That sounds familiar. Glock, the model numbers never really correspond to whatever the thing is, so it's hard to say. Daywan is here. How you doing, Daywan? Yeah, I think Trexter said the same thing I did. He just said it in a more succinct way. And something else I wanted to get out. Some of you have asked me about the holster for the Walter P99 special or final edition. And as I understand it, they're sold out on the website for Walter. So those things were made by CompTac holsters. If you go to the CompTac website, you might be able to find either that holster or something similar. Now, it might not be the green with the final edition on the side and all that, but you might at least be able to find a holster for your Walter P99 if you go there and check that out. Again, that's CompTac Holsters is the company that made those holsters for Walter. I can't give her no more, Captain. Richard Williams was out trick or treating. Good for you. I hope you got a bunch of candy. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was KD Cowboy. So KD, I hope you got a bunch of candy. Richard Williams, happy Halloween to you. I'm doing great, Dewan. Rabbi, I'm not sure what you're saying there. Beat us. Oh, that reminds me, I watched Beetlejuice the other night too. Another fun movie. Mimi, unlike me, is not really into the horror movies genre, but the comical ones like Beetlejuice and things like that, she'll watch. Young Frankenstein, so we get to enjoy those together. Oh, I think you're talking about the robot from The Day the Earth Stood Still. Was it Batu? Was that his name? Something like that?
I'm Siri. Pleased to meet you.
And now Siri is talking to me. I have no idea why. Katie Cowboy, any thoughts on the 90-day export ban? That's another one of those things that I don't quite get. It sounds like it's a ban on new export licenses. So if somebody comes along that's not currently purchasing firearms from whoever, Colt or whoever, Palmetto State Armory, somebody like that. If somebody new comes along and they want to make that purchase, then there's a ban on new licenses for those purchases. But if somebody has a license and they're already purchasing whatever kind of firearms, then that can continue. So the whole thing just seems weird to me. I don't understand what the idea is behind it. Steve Detweiler, has anyone tried the Echelon? Yeah, I had one in here at the channel, and I produced a video review of it, and it was an okay pistol, but I just didn't think that it did anything really much better than a lot of handguns that have been out for a long time. I didn't have anything that I really disliked about it, but there was nothing that really caught my attention and made me think, "Wow, this thing is really fantastic." And day one, I did something silly. uh, well, be careful, day one. I don't know if you're going to want to announce that on here or not with everyone watching. KD Cowboy, U.S. gun manufacturers can't export for national security reasons. Any thoughts? I don't think that's exactly correct. Like I said, it's got to do with new export licenses. Existing export licenses, as I understand, can continue exporting as they always have. And I'm probably going to mispronounce this. Kyle the wow, Kyle the Fryan, is that correct? Have you tried the Smith and Wesson 30 Super Carry? If so, what is your opinion? No, I have not. I've been very lukewarm to that cartridge ever since it was introduced, and I've just not made it a priority to go out and try to get one and test it. So I'm sorry, I can't give you any firsthand personal opinion of that. Michael Mitchell, the new Beetlejuice sequel should be out sometime next year. I didn't know they were making a sequel. I did not know that, so that's interesting. Rabbi, they really struck while the iron was in the fire, was hot, didn't they? Talking about the new Beetlejuice movie. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that because that's one of those when they make a sequel so many years later, is it going to live up to, what everybody associates with the classic movie? I don't know. Now I did see they did a sequel to oh shoot, A Christmas Story. The one, the Red Rider, Don't Shoot Your Eye Out Kid, all that. They did a sequel to that I saw last year, and the kid from the original Christmas Story is all grown up. He plays an adult in that one, and they go back and go through A Christmas Story. And it was actually I enjoyed it. It was fun to see him again. It was fun to see some of the other actors that had been in the original movie all those years ago, back in, when was that made? Probably 1982 or something like that. So I that one was pretty good. So it is possible to do that if you get the right story and the right director and all that. But we'll see what happens with the new Beetlejuice movie. And hold on a second because I clicked on that and didn't mean to. There. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's another one I haven't seen forever. User 579, what is your favorite CCW ammo? I have a lot that I use. I like conventional jacketed hollow point ammunition. A lot of the ammunition that I use, depending on what cartridge it is, comes from Hot Munitions these days. They typically use a Hornady XTP bullet for a lot of their defensive ammunition, which is a bullet that I like. I also use Spear Gold Dot. I've got some uh, older Federal HydroShock that I use in my 45 ACPs. So different things, but generally it's one version or another of a conventional jacketed hollow point. Mr. Goldenride, did you decide to buy the K22 Masterpiece? Not yet. I took it back the other day and it hurt to give it back to the guys at Hop Armament, but it is back there now. So if somebody beats me to it, then it might not be there for me. Oh, Day One got a Desert Eagle. Well, good for you. I hope you enjoy it. Trexter, the patriarch in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was a Vietnam vet. Just saying, we need to check your basements. I didn't know that. Scott Person bought my wife a 1 carat diamond ring for her anniversary, and then told her that I bought 2 new 10 millimeter handguns. Probably a good thing you went in that order. Paul Woodall says, I communicated with you some time ago that I have an EAA revolver that I sent back for them for a third time in less than 2 years. They still have it and no word as to the issues. Um, Paul, if you email me, I will try to forward that to an individual that communicate back and forth with at European American Armory. Maybe he can help with this. I don't know, but shoot me an email. I'll try to give you a hand. Richard Williams, will you be reviewing a Gerson Witness double stack 1911, 2311? I don't know. If I get the chance, I will. Coyote says, just tuned in. Are you still carrying the IWI Masada Slim? Yes, I am. In between that and a Sig Spectre comp. Yeah, I like the 9S. It's a good pistol. I shoot it well. It's reasonably priced. It's one that if I ended up using it for a defensive situation and it goes into a evidence room for however long until criminal and civil proceedings work themselves out, I'm happier with a $400 handgun languishing in an evidence room than I am a $4,000 handgun. So that's another part to my thinking as well. And it's a good pistol. I like it, so I carry it. And I'm just going down through some of these comments now. Looks like a lot of you guys are talking to each other. A lot of talk about the new Beetlejuice movie. Katie Cowboy getting into used firearms. Looked at an Astra 960 Smith & Wesson clone and 38 Special. Used to be Spanish police officers. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. I hope that works out well for you. I really don't know much of anything about them, so I hope it's a good revolver for you. That new Beetlejuice is going to be a dumpster fire. Steve Detweiler, I've got Die Hard 1 and 2 ready for Christmas movie time. Good. Nothing says Merry Christmas like Die Hard. Julie Jackson is here. How you doing, Julie? YouTube was filtering out the word trash. How about that? Daywan, does the issue of jacket separation bother you? Not really. Um, there are so many aspects of terminal ballistics that people get all wrapped around the axle about. Most people don't want to be shot with anything. Virtually any bullet, if it's placed right, is going to be effective. And I just don't worry that much about things like jacket separation. I used to do all kinds of tests and studies and, shoot into ballistic gel and measure the expanded diameter and weigh the bullets for residual weight and all that kind of thing and velocity testing and one thing and another. And at the end of the day, what I decided was basically most ammunition, particularly premium defensive ammunition, is pretty good stuff. And there's just not enough difference from one brand to the next to make that much difference. And again, in my mind, it comes down to shot placement. So that's kind of where I am with that right now. Ben Crane, I'm glad you made it, Ben. Thanks for joining. Sammy Boy, really hope they don't ruin Beetlejuice. Me too. KD Cowboy, will you review the Smith & Wesson response? I mentioned that earlier on in the video or in the show. If I get the chance, I want to. I'm interested in that. I don't have a negative opinion of it right from the point that it was introduced. So I really would like to try one out and see what I think of it. So stay tuned. I'm going to try to get one. And Rabbi is going to spooky dinner. Have a great evening, Rabbi. Enjoy your dinner, enjoy your wine, and hope to see you soon. Mark Becker is here. Thanks for joining, Mark. Julie Jackson just got back from the beaches of, is it Boracay? Boracay, Philippines? Sand, surf, and sun. Good for you. Hope you had a great time. Russ Michael, will you be doing another lever video soon? I don't have one planned right now, although the video that's going to come up on Saturday is not lever action, but it's a different kind of action. It's kind of unusual. So I hope you guys like that one. Day one, I asked about jacket separation because of all the XTP bullets I have, same issue. But by saying that, I now load them hotter. You know what? I've used XTP bullets for hunting specifically in my 44 Magnums, and it's been a great bullet. I have taken a lot of deer using a 44 Magnum with the XTP bullet, so it has always served me well. KD Cowboy, the Philippines has over 7,000 islands with lots of beaches. And what are we up to here? 54 minutes. So I'll keep this going for an hour. We got another 5 or 6 minutes. If you guys have any last minute questions or comments you want again, I do want to make this announcement again. I said this way back at the beginning of the show, and I want to say it again. On November the 11th, just a reminder, I am going to be at Hop Armament in Hayesville, Ohio. And Sean Payne, the owner of House of Payne Armament, is going to be providing meals for any veterans who show up and drinks. Now, I think this is soft drinks, so don't plan on coming in and getting loaded. But he's going to be buying, if you're a veteran, he's going to be paying for your meal, paying for a drink. I'm going to be there. There's all kinds of firearms, all kinds of ammunition. So if you can make it on November 11th, that is in Hayesville, Ohio, go to www.hopmunitions.com and you can find the actual address, plug it into your map software, and that'll show you how to get there. and I think it's going to be a great time. So I hope a lot of you can make it. Ben Crane, what's the dress code for the meetup at Hop? Well, wear clothes. that's that's the part of the dress code I know about. Um, what's that say? We're going to have plate carriers, battle belts. If that's what you want to show up in, Ben, go ahead. I'm probably going to be wearing something similar to what I'm wearing right here, without the button. And Sammy Boy, did you ever shoot 157 grain Grindles? I think this is supposed to be out of your 5943. No, I don't remember shooting anything like that. I would imagine 147 grain bullets were probably the heaviest that I ever shot. And our carry ammo for many years with that particular handgun was the Federal BPLE, which is a 115 grain plus P plus loading. And then we went to a 124 grain, I think, Ranger, Winchester Ranger load for those handguns. Paul Puglia says, "Happy Halloween, HR Funk. What state are you from? I'm new to you, and I like your videos. I'm in Shelby Township, Michigan." Well, thanks for watching, Paul. I am in Ohio. I'm in north central Ohio, about 30 odd miles southwest of Akron. Henry Schmidt says, "Goodbye, everybody. Start buying while you can. Future is in the hands of the ready." Have a good evening, Henry. Happy Halloween. Wow. Mark Becker just got a box of 50 44 mag Winchester jacket of soft points for $71. That is that is steep. User 579, opinion on 40 Smith & Wesson. I like the cartridge. I carried it for years. I think it's a good cartridge. I was an early proponent of it. Um, there's nothing bad I can say about it. It gets a lot of bad press these days. I think 9mm ammunition, because of the advances in bullet technology, has probably benefited more over the last couple of decades than something like the 40 Smith & Wesson or 45 ACP. Even so, there's nothing wrong with 40 Smith & Wesson. I still think it's a good defensive cartridge. Paul Puglia, do you ever come to Michigan? I was just in Michigan about 3 weeks ago. My sister-in-law lives up there in the Detroit area. And my wife and I took my mother-in-law up there for a visit, dropped her off, and it was about a 3.5 hour trip up there. And then coming back, there was a crash on I-75, and we ended up in stop and go traffic. It ended up being like a 5 hour trip coming back, which was obnoxious. But yeah, periodically I do get up to Michigan. Been to the Cabela's up there once or twice. I kind of like that one. And I'm just going down through the comments right now. A lot of comments on ammunition prices and availability. ERJG 1954, thanks for joining us. Says, to hell with all these newfangled pistols, 1911 Colt 45 ACP, Model 19, 2.5 inch, changing my screen name to Grouchy Crusty Fudd. That sounds appropriate. Starting to run low on my witch's brew, folks. Don't have too much left. I got a little bit more in the can here. So I'll pour that in there, try to keep my voice going for a little bit longer. And see, is there anything else that I did not mention? Um, Parting thoughts on the 5.7 by 28 that I had the video on last week. I was really kind of underwhelmed by that cartridge, if you couldn't tell by the video. That Ruger carbine that I was testing that came from my friend Frank. And if Frank sees this video, thank you for loaning me your carbine, Frank. I appreciate that. But I wasn't blown away by that carbine, especially for an MSRP around $1,000. And I cannot figure out what the 5.7 by 28 does that the 556 NATO doesn't do better. So I don't know if you guys saw that video or not, if you have any thoughts on the 5.7 by 28, but I was just not blown away by it. Hamden Bob is here. Greetings, HR. Simply holding my hill these days. Well, take care and see that you hold it well. Klaatu, that was the name of the robot. That's right. I could not remember that off the top of my head. The robot from the day the Earth stood still. ERJG 1954. It takes luck and skill to make it to my age, and probably more luck than skill would be my guess. All right, folks, we just rolled over the 1 hour point, and I think we're going to start to wrap things up here. Thanks to all of you who joined. Have a happy Halloween. To everyone who watches the videos, comments on the videos, everyone who joins in the live streams, thank you, thank you, thank you. To my channel members who make a monthly contribution, thank you to you. I could not get through some of these lean months when YouTube demonetizes all my videos without that contribution coming in. So that really helps with the continuity of the videos and the revenue stream coming in. Thanks to Rabbi, even though I think he already left, for making a $5 donation this evening. And again, I say this, I think, on just about every live stream. Were it not for all of the participation and support that I get from all of you, I would just be some guy talking to myself in front of a video camera. So I cannot overstate the value that I put on all of the interaction that I get with all of you. That's really what I get from YouTube, and they're I'm not going to get rich doing this, believe me, but that sense of community and fellowship and sharing knowledge with all of you is just tremendous. So thank you very much. Happy Halloween. And until next time, everyone, good shooting and have a good evening. Bye-bye.